right, good morning. I didn't have time to get a quote going today. I'm going to have you guys pick one. What's your favorite quote today? Welcome back, guys. Good morning, good morning. What's the quote of the day? Fill in the blank quote. Pedro, appreciate that, man. Pura Vida, maybe that's the quote of the day. Yeah, that's always a good one. Appreciate that, Chef. Yeah, Apple, sick call, looking great. Apple over 208, looking fantastic. Definitely a nice trade yesterday. Blessed, appreciate that, man. Thank you, Blessed. That's it. Mo. Give me back my son. That's it, Mo. Appreciate that, Mo. That's one of the greatest. Can't hear, can't trade. That's another good one. Give me back my son. That's awesome. Awesome fades, Palantir. Yep. Awesome fades, semis. Apple strong versus everything. Very crazy discrepancy. Wild discrepancy on the market yesterday between NASDAQ ES. We saw those small caps go straight up all day, which was wild. So yesterday was a very, very bizarre day, but just sort of locked in on the semi weakness, and that's where I made my money. So you didn't really have to do everything. You just had to pick one, really. You know, did you trade the semi, or did you trade the small cap outperformance? Did you trade the semi weakness? Did you maybe trade the Apple outperformance? You know, there was all sort of, there was buckets of opportunity there, just all different though. So it's sort of weird, sort of difficult. You know, definitely more difficult when not everything's sort of flowing together to each direction. But that was yesterday, for sure. That was one of the more intense discrepancies I've seen. One of the more intense divergence, you know, sort of different areas. Pretty wild. But fun to watch. Opportunity for sure. And hopefully you guys did well on that. We did very well. Made back a lot of losses yesterday on one beautiful AMD trade, which was awesome. AMD straight from the live stream. All you had to do is wake up. That's another great quote. All you have to do is wake up. All you have to do is wake up, come to the live stream, get prepared. And man, yesterday we were pretty spot on about just about everything. Title of the live stream yesterday, ready for some fades. We definitely got some fades. And today I'm going to prepare you again with what you have to watch out for on this NASDAQ futures and some of the discrepancy that we're seeing on other sectors. So should be really good. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try something real quick, so bear with me. I'm going to try and use this mic right here. This fancy boy. Over here. I'm going to see if it works. Let's see. Hold on. All right, let me see if I can get situated here with this mic. Almost need two of these things. Yeah, this is tough. Oh, I got an idea. Bear with me, folks. Technical difficulties to start the day. but we're going to try something. Son of a... I got wires everywhere over here, man. They're everywhere. Okay. Do that. Do that. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, I know, low volume. Give me a break. Bear with me for a second here. I'm working. All right. Low volume. Still too low. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 30 seconds. I'm working. Let me cook. Just let me cook, all right? Let me cook. Hold on. It's still going. I just don't like the way the live stream sound when I use the Yeti mic. It picks up too much. Picks up too much. All right. Now I'm too close to the computer screen. Yeah, we'll try this, but it's not going to be great. I got to work on another way of doing this. All right. So, all right, guys. All right, never mind. I'm just going to continue. All right, let's get into it. NASDAQ futures. How's it sound? It sounds good? Sounds all right? How we doing? Good? Sound good? Give me the thumbs up. Turn up the volume. That's right. Turn up your volume. Decent? Yeah, I'm going to work on a little something. All right, so NASDAQ futures. Yesterday, we talked about the rejections of Friday highs, and that is pretty much what we got. Besides, it pretty much, right? Right at this Friday high and that that Friday high and that Monday low is where we saw that rejection come in. So anywhere between like this high here, right, and then these lows here is what we were sort of watching for the rejection play on the NASDAQ. And you guys can see yesterday morning, we pretty much just chopped there and then gave up the lows. Now, let me show you guys something that's absolutely gorgeous on the NASDAQ futures yesterday. And that is a trade that we talk about all of the time. And that is the break and retest of previous day lows, right? So that is one of our A-plus textbook setups, the break and retest of previous day lows. And if we look at this NASDAQ futures, right, and we take a look at previous day low was 22,780 right here. This was our previous day low on the NASDAQ futures from Monday. Bam, 22,780, previous day low on the NASDAQ futures. Now, let me go into the 2-minute chart, and let me show you exactly what happened at 22,780. It should blow your mind, or it should tell you, hey, maybe I should actually trade the break and retest. You guys can see right here on the NASDAQ futures, if we put on the extended hours, you can see the market opened. It held previous day low. It consolidated, right, sideways in this range, which actually probably lines up absolutely perfect with the 15-minute orb. The 15-minute orb was probably just around this range, right? And then take a look at this beauty right here, my friends. Really could not ask for a better trade yesterday. according to the break and retest strategy, according to the NASDAQ futures PDL. Here's your PDL. Here's your break. Here's your retest. Here's your little bear flag. Look at this candle. That's your entry point, right? Entering on this candle. Look at that downside continuation. That is incredible. That is the break and retest of previous day low in all of its glory. This is exactly what we look for all of the time. We talk about this every day, and this just provided probably one of the best trading opportunities in a few weeks, and that is incredible. If you caught this, congratulations. This is a sexy, sexy trade. Previous day low, look for breaks below those lows, look for retest rejections, right? And look at that right there, and look at this right here. Unbelievable. What a trade. What a beautiful setup. And that is why we do what we do, right? Because this trade right here wipes away a lot of losses. This is a fantastic risk-reward entry, and that is exactly off a very defined level. Previous day low, it doesn't get much easier than that. Just watch the previous day low and see if you get a break and retest below it. You took the long off 600. Sexy, man. Awesome, Carlos. I mean, that was the next trade, right? Break down to 600, which was the Friday low. Look at that long off Friday lows. Beautiful. That's trading with levels. Way to go, Carlos. Incredible trade, man. 600, 600, same level. Bam, long opportunity off that level. Awesome to see. Now, what is happening right now in the NASDAQ futures that I think you have to pay attention to? What you have to pay attention to is that we are now making lower highs below the Friday lows. I'm sorry, the Monday lows. So we have the Monday lows right here, right? And we can see yesterday it rejected below it. And today in the pre-market, it rejected below it once again, right? So we are failing below the Monday low. We are below the Monday low a day. That is important to pay attention to. And I would be careful trying to long the market back into that low. I mean, I just don't really think that's a great idea. You need to see this get above that Monday low, I think, to think that we're going to move back higher on this market. At least on the NASDAQ futures, right? And this is where it's sort of strange because it's just the NASDAQ futures. The S&P 500 never broke Monday's lows. Didn't even come close to Monday's lows, right? Well, I guess it sort of came close. But you had your Monday low here on ES. You came down to it. You had a beautiful long off of it. And now we're holding up pretty damn well right at our 62.45 level. So it's a little bit bizarre, right? Because I wouldn't want to take the NASDAQ long today if we're below that Monday low, but the ES is above it, right? So gets a little bit discrepant there, gets a little bit tricky there, right? And if you're going to trade one, you sort of have to trade it individual to what you're trading, right? If you're going to trade the ES strength, then you probably don't want to take Q calls because it might be actually different. Typically, it's the same, right? You could just take SPY or Qs. It would sort of be the same move, but now it's sort of discrepant and something to be aware of. So for me, today, if I was to be honest, I would delete this level and I would just not trade within this range, right? I got a question in the Discord yesterday. It's like, hey, how do you guys avoid chop and know when it's going to be chop? And I would always recommend just looking back at the previous day's range, right? If you look back at the previous day's range, and you just say, hey, I'm not going to trade in between that previous day's range, right? So yesterday, we got outside the previous day's range on the NASDAQ, right? Because the previous day range was the low to the high. So this was Monday's range. When we broke below Monday's range, look at the opportunity that came in. And now we have this range for Tuesday. And here is your range now for today, right? So if you trade within that same range from yesterday, well, you're probably going to expect lackluster trades and so sort of a balanced range, right? And that's what you should expect. So we're trading within yesterday's range. We're trading within the Monday low right here and the Tuesday low here, right? So here is your, I would say, pretty obvious. You're not going to get anything, right? You're just going to get pretty much what we got yesterday. It's pretty much just nothing, right? So we just got ADP data. Looks like we got a little bit of downside there on that candle, but today it's the same thing, right? Come into the day and say, hey, I'm not going to trade unless we break under yesterday's range, yesterday or above. Very nice. Put yourself a zone there and learn how to be disciplined. Really, all that takes is discipline and patience. If you get under this low here at 22.6, there's going to be a great opportunity for downside today on the NASDAQ futures, right? Under yesterday's lows, under last Friday's lows, there's absolutely going to be a trade to that 22.580 and possibly even down to the 22.385, right? That would be a great place to look for a setup. But if you just trade within yesterday's range, then yeah, I mean, you should expect us to be choppy. It's the same range as the previous day, where you just chopped around for the inside that area, right? So pretty clear here on the NASDAQ futures today. I actually think I'm going to trade sort of, solely the NASDAQ today, or at least look for tech, because I think it's a lot clearer. Underneath this double bottom low at 600, I think you trade into this Wednesday high around 530. Under that, I think you trade right to this 385 spot. To the upside, I wouldn't really want to be long here unless you, at a minimum, reclaim this 780 spot, right? I need to see at least a reclaim above Monday's lows and a reclaim above this pre-market high to really think that we're going to try to continue higher, at a minimum. I'd still be cautious of that high a day from yesterday up here around that 845, 850. That would still be a little bit, of a cautionary spot. But at a minimum, I'd like to see us try to hold back above this pre-market high. If we can get something like this and you start to base above this, then you probably can look for that upside move. So for me, right, pretty damn clear today. You got this Monday low, pre-market high rejection. You got this Friday and Tuesday, Friday and yesterday low here. I'm not going to get too active in this. If we get outside of that range, then I'll look to get aggressive, on the NASDAQ futures. So that's pretty damn clear. The last thing I want to point out on the NASDAQ futures for everyone that has panic attacks on the intraday, this is exactly where you should move down to. And if you get scared of this pullback, then you need to learn about how the market works. This is expected. This should be expected. This should be accepted. This should be taken in with open arms, right? You should be praying and hoping, if you're bullish, that this happens. You do not want to see this just froth. You don't want to just see this straight up move, just keep pushing higher and not give you a structured pullback. This is where you should want the NASDAQ to pull back to if you're bullish. This would be a fantastic downside move. This would be a fantastic retest of previous double top highs. This would be a fantastic pullback to the daily 20. This would be the A+ opportunity to take the market long right here at 22,200. That's what you should want to see. That's what you should expect to see, and that's what you should mentally prepare for, so that you don't say in the middle of the day, "What just happened? Oh my God, what's going on? I can't believe this," right? That type of behavior has to stop. It has to stop. If you want to be successful, you need to be able to understand why things are happening. You can't freak out on the intraday. If this happens today straight down to 200, you should say, that makes sense. Yep. That makes total sense, right? We're frothy to the upside. We haven't pulled back to this breakout point, and it makes a lot of sense that the NASDAQ needs to come back to the daily 20 and needs to pick up buyers back at these previous highs. Makes total sense. So if that happens today, that should be expected. There should be no surprises, okay? That makes a lot of sense there on the NASDAQ futures, and I would be paying attention to that spot back at those channel highs around 22,200, 22,220. But, right, to get that move, we're going to have to start breaking down some spots first. 22,600. Under that, 22,530. Under that, 22,385. Under that, you'll get your daily 20 SMA test right here at 22,220. That would be the watch that I would keep in, that would be what I would be watching for, okay? Now, of course, NASDAQ maybe doesn't want to do it yet. It holds 600. It pushes higher today, squeezes back above 850, 800, and makes new highs. That's very possible as well, right? And that's why you can't say, hey, I'm going to short to 22,200 today because Desi said so, and I'm going to enter my short right into the double bottom lows, right? And then I'm going to yell at Desi when he, on tomorrow's live stream because I shorted into double bottom lows, but Desi said we should be going back to 22,200, right? That's just called, you already know what that's called. So 22,600, that's the level that has to break. If you start breaking these spots, then you'll probably start to navigate back to that level, but you have to see it first. Trade what you see, not what you think. Trade what you see, not what you think. S&P 500 futures. So you can see the discrepancy on the S&P 500 yesterday. You have the Tuesday lows, Monday lows, holding up, holding up. We never broke below that low a day from the Monday lows. So very, very important. Now, I will say, right, you are definitely seeing this high come in around the 6260, 6260, 6260. A little bit of an attempt higher and a failed breakout this morning back under 6260. So for me, I would sort of look at it like this, to be honest. I would look at this zone like this. I would say, hey, I am not going to be long up in this zone up here. I'm not going to be establishing longs in the 6260, 6270 zone. That just doesn't make sense. I've seen multiple fails at this spot, and I don't want to be the one that's, taking longs right up in this area and getting smacked. So that's not a long for me. If you're going to long today on the ES, I think you'd probably want to see a pullback to the 20s, right? Back to the 20s, back to this channel low, channel low, channel low, and then maybe you get your sort of channel low bounce again. That would be the spot to be long if you're looking for that. There's a little bit of a middle of the channel level here at 45 that keeps holding. You can see even here in the pre-market it's holding. 62.45, 62.45, a little 45 action pretty much all of the last few days. You've seen reactions at 45. It's sort of right in the middle of this channel, all right? And you can see here today 45 is sort of stepping up. So 45 would be the level to break. If you can see a fail under 45, you're probably going to 25. If you hold 45 and you push higher, obviously be careful of the pop and fade. But then also consider, if this does break above 70, then maybe the ES is just wanting to continue to rip, right? Both ways. So, very important there. Underneath 62.20, I think you'll actually start to get your give-up move, right? Underneath 62.20 here, I think you'll start to get your give-up move. Under 20, you probably go to 6,200, fill sort of this low-volume area. Underneath 6,200, you go to that Friday low at 83, right? And under that, you start to navigate towards your 6160 level. If I was to be honest, right? If I was to be honest, again, I'm going to sort of give you that daily chart look. This is probably where the ES should come back to, just to be fully transparent with you. It looks like the ES is a little bit stronger than the NASDAQ, so it might take longer or maybe not at all, not happen at all. But, if I was to be honest, this double top high at 6,100, which lines up with the daily 20 SMA right here, looks to be the spot that you probably would want the ES to come back to, right? JM, appreciate that, brother. This is how you take advantage of people, guys. I mean, you got to think about this, right? This is how you take advantage of retail traders. If this market goes down, right, you're going to get a fueled put rally, right, with retail traders thinking that this is the end, right? The end is near. This is the top of the market. They're going to make up every reason to think that this is it, right? Tariffs, Trump, Elon, this, that, and the third, right? What else is going on? It's all over. And then you're going to get the bounce off the daily 20, 6,100, and you're going to rip to new all-time highs, right? And that's how you take advantage of people, guys, right? Instead of panicking with emotion, you pay attention to key levels. And 6,100 is probably the key level that creates the next best long without just sort of following this frothy sort of grind higher. So you'd love to get it. You'd love to get it, especially if you're a great trader. You're going to trade the downside, and then you're going to trade the upside. And that's where opportunity comes in, right? Opportunity arises in these big pivots. It doesn't really happen on these just grinds higher. So you should warrant that. You should be open arms about that possibility, and you should prepare for it, right? That's my recommendation. So we're breaking 45. If we hold below that today, we'll go to the 20s. If we break the 20s, then I like it down lower, right? Start trading that downside move, and then obviously when you hit your 6,100. If you do, then you're going to sort of pivot back to the upside trades once we get to that level. If we do, right? I don't know if we will, but if we do. So that's that. SPY. 619 is obviously the level to break. You can see again it's failing below it after some trap buying above, and also on that note, trap buyers, right? Something we hear quite a bit. I have a video coming out around 1:30 Eastern time today about that. So make sure to watch that 1:30 Eastern time. I will make sure to send you guys alerts, but make sure to be on the lookout for that at 1:30 today. Got a nice video about trap buyers, how it actually creates some of the best downside opportunities, And this is a great example of it, right? You know, over 619, you get a little bit of a pop above, you fail back under. Everyone that chased longs above that 619, right, is exiting positions, which is fueling the weakness. So very clear there this morning on the SPY over 619. You can see downside coming in, and I would say you're coming into that 615, 615.50. That would be my target. That is yesterday's lows, and that is Monday's lows. So if you come back down to that level, right, that's where things could bounce. So please be aware of that before you short the open, right? If we're trading right here at the open today, that actually could eliminate the downside look, right? That's something you need to pay attention to. Just because we move lower in the pre-market down to 615 doesn't mean when market opens, you don't just rip off that level, right? And that's a bear trap. That's a bear trap, right? A bear trap or trap bears could be traders that try to trade this breakdown and then it holds and then it flings this thing back to the upside. So 615 to 619, that's your zone today on the SPY. Under 615, you're going to the 613 spot, right? And then under that, you're going to 611 Friday's lows. Okay? Very clear here. Very clear levels on the SPY. But we have to see, you know, obviously, remember, something I want you to remember is we are technically in the same channel over the last 3 trading days right now on the SPY, which means what do you expect at the open today? Or what do you expect? What's your expectations of the day? Unless the SPY breaks above or below, right, this channel, then you are expecting chop. And if you expect otherwise, then you're really just making up things in your head. There is nothing on the market right now on the ES futures, on the SPY, that says you're going to get big continuation. You are in the exact same range you were in both Monday, Tuesday, and now here again today. So you need this to break a channel high or low to expect continuation. If you don't, then you know what's going to happen already. QQQ. So really nice failures at the QQQ. I think I'm going to delete this level. Possibly, yeah, I will delete that level because I'm really not that interested in trading inside of this range. But yesterday, what a beautiful failure of that Friday high and that Monday low. We had that Friday high, Monday low between 550, 549. We can see we failed below it, failed it, and here in the pre-market, failed it. So we are turning these previous lows, right, into rejections right now. You're potentially seeing a little flip in structure, right? You are structuring higher, creating higher highs, higher lows, and now you've sort of flipped back to the bearish structure. What does this look like? This, to me, looks like a head and shoulder formation, right? Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you need to pay attention to that. Today, there is a potential bearish structure flip on the NASDAQ futures and on the QQQ. You are turning Monday's lows into highs, which is bearish, okay? Short-term bearish. Now, that doesn't mean, Desi said we're bearish, I'm going to short into double bottom lows and hope it goes lower. No, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. So, what I would be aware of is obviously the Friday lows and the Tuesday lows here at the 544.50. Do not short right into that low, please. That does not make sense, right? And underneath 544.50, we go to 543, we go to 541.30, we go to 539. We have to break under yesterday's lows to look for continuation to the downside. You must. IWM, strong outperformance on the IWM yesterday, pretty much vertical to the upside. IWM has to hold this Friday high at 217.50 today to continue this sort of upside move. If you break back under Friday's highs, you're coming right back down to that daily 200. Upside supply, 220.6. Dow Jones, beautiful over 44,700. Damn. All right, so Dow over 44,700. That was one of our key levels on the 4-hour chart. That was right here. That's really nice. So 44,700 is definitely a spot to watch for Dow strength today. If you break under that 44,700 right here, then I would say you come back down to retest this high. The proper move here on the Dow Jones, the proper move and what you should look for is a pullback long back at this previous high. That would be really nice. All right. It's 8:30. I mean, I just provided a ridiculous amount of information for today. And if I could just get one thing in return, and that would be for you to press the like button and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. So I will wait. I will wait. $1,500. That's what we're getting today. $1,500 here. Press the like button. JM Vernell. Appreciate that, Vernell. Where's my water? Press the like button. All right. We're close enough. 1,300, I'll take it. Keep pressing it, though. All right. Next, Tesla. So, what did we talk about on Tesla yesterday? We had a great game plan. We said don't short into 292, 295. Anyone that shorted into 292, 295 got eviscerated. So, clearly, that is the level not to short into. You can see the daily 100 SMA. You can see 292, 295 is obviously the strong demand. And I would not be looking to short into that level. It just doesn't make sense, right? There's a major previous low here. If I go back to the 4-hour, and you can see right here, look at this, right? Previous high. Look at 212. Look at 292, 295. Not a level to short into. Very clear. If you break under 292, then you are going to go down to 275, and I think that is a great watch today. Mark, appreciate that, Mark. But what do you need to do? You need to break 292. You have to break 292. Under 292, you can get your move to 275, but that is only if you break it. So I would look for that down here, under 292 to this low at 275. That's something to look for. The best short opportunity in my mind is to give the bulls a little bit of hope and then smash it from them. That would be my best short to look for, in my opinion. Get the bulls to have a little bit of hope, right, to the upside, back into the daily 200, back into the daily 50, back into these lows here, and then smash it, right? That would be what I'd look for if you really want to short Tesla. I would not want to get involved in Tesla's shit show that you encountered yesterday. Wouldn't want to be involved in that. All right. So for me, I think you possibly get a little gap fill up to this like 312 area, this low volume area here, and then see if that fades it. If you get a 312 push and then a pop back under 305, that would be a sick short right there. Right. That would be a sick short. So I would look for that, or I would just wait for a move under 292. Also, please do not try to get cute longing Tesla right now. I said this all last week, and I'm going to say it again. Don't get cute longing Tesla. It just isn't working, right? There's something clearly wrong here. I know there's delivery numbers today, so maybe that changes everything for the better or for the worse. I don't know. But I really don't think you just go out there and say, hey, this is way too much. I'm going to go ahead and long Tesla now. Too much is never something you can say when it comes to Tesla. There is no such thing as too much. So be careful doing that. Let levels decide that. The only way I would look to long Tesla is a very strong reclaim above 312 and a very strong consolidation back above it for possibly a move back into the 336 channel high. But you need the levels to decide that before you start doing that. Nvidia, oh baby. What's AMD doing? Oh baby, we're going to get our target before, oh shit. Nice. We're going to hit our target before the open, which is sort of scary because AMD probably goes to my target and then rips straight to the upside before I can get out. But yeah, AMD swing trade looking really good, man. We've been yelling and screaming that 133 level, the low volume, looking sick. What a trade. This is probably one of my best trades in a long time there on AMD. Who caught that one yesterday? Who caught AMD yesterday? Nvidia. Very nice here. 155. Right here. 155. Previous lows. Look at this rejection yesterday. Unreal. Unreal at 155. Previous major lows at 155. break, retest, smash. Beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. Look at this. 155 holds, 155 break, 155 retest, 155 lower high, and there we go, right? That is incredible. What a move on Nvidia. Very clean, very necessary, right? Let's not act like this is not necessary. This is a vertical move with low volume. This is absolutely what should be happening. There's nothing wrong with Nvidia. You know, Nvidia is not like, oh, it's done. It's such a shit company. Guys, this is normal. You can't go straight up and not expect straight down. It's just how the market works. So if you're under 153, right? If you're under 153, which again is the previous all-time highs, so make sure you remember that. That's influential, right? We have failed back under the previous all-time highs. That is important to understand, right? We are back under that level. That means that everyone that longed Nvidia over all-time highs is now underwater, right? So that could really create some pressure back to the downside. If we break this 150 here, there is literally zero volume to 150. And I'll show you that on the volume profile. There is zero volume to 150. So if I go pull up a volume profile, you will see here, take a look at this volume profile. Underneath 150, you have a very large valley in price, valley in volume, down to 150, and even, to be honest, down to 147.50, right? Very clear. So I would absolutely be looking to take advantage of that today. If we get a clear break under this 150, I think you can trade that to 150. I think you can trade that to 147.50. You're taking advantage of this vertical move, right? Right here. See this low? And then right here at 150. So I'm going to be watching that one today for sure. That's definitely a watch. Semis are definitely showing some weakness. Did I miss the SMH? I think I did. I got to go back to the SMH. SMH, very important read today. What is the SMH doing? What did the SMH do yesterday? It created bearish structure, right? SMH had this structure, and we had this structure, and now look what it's doing, right? This is the same thing. This is a head and shoulder formation, right? We are turning, if you look at the SMH, we are turning these previous highs that turned into lows back into highs, right? You have flipped back to the downside. So now, I would say if you're trading under 275, you're going down to that 270-250. If you break 270-250, you're going down to 270, right? And that's going to continue to drive these semiconductors lower. Nvidia, and then the trade that we took, which I hope it just stays at our target because I'm scared of this happening, one of these, before the open, which is very possible. But in AMD, awesome trade. We had that low volume area. You can check my Twitter, check my X, check everywhere that I talked about this, Instagram, this obviously the Discord. This was our trade, right? This was our trade. This was right here. All right, if we pull this up, you can see this was our watch. The low volume area on AMD, right? Underneath that 138, 139, down into the 133 target. We're sort of talking about this low volume here. And you are navigating through that very nicely right now, which is fantastic. It's going to start to pick up some demand and some buyers at this 133, 132 area, so be careful of that. If you are short under that, you'll probably get your move to 128 in the daily 20 SMA. That could be great as well. Broadcom, Chef, remember when we were talking about Broadcom and we were saying, hey, we want to get pullbacks a little bit deeper before we long, just a frothy upside move? Well, take a look at what happened, Chef. Beautiful stuff, man. Right back down to the 264, what we were saying, right? We asked about Broadcom yesterday. I said, I don't really want to long Broadcom and just this frothy straight up. Give me some pullback, right? Back to the previous highs. That's exactly what Broadcom did. Pull back to the previous highs, pull back to this retest level. Now today we're going to watch to see if 264 steps up. If it doesn't, I think I like this level just as much, 256, right? 256, daily 20. I like that as well, right? That looks really nice. So I would be watching 264, 256. Those are the two spots that I'd be looking for Broadcom. I am still interested in longing these stocks, right? Don't get me wrong. Don't think that I'm bearish here. Obviously, I'm short-term bearish because the signs are there, but obviously semiconductors are rock solid. You know, stocks are rock solid. So it's just a matter, it's just a pullback. This is what you want to see. So pullback longs 256 would be my A plus here on Broadcom. 256 pullback longs. I think Broadcom ran too much. It needs to pull back. If it breaks under this previous all-time high, then you're coming down to that 20 SMA, and that's your A plus long to be looking for. What would really be A plus, right? This is what I typically would want to look for, just so you guys are sort of aware. You have this previous all-time high here at the 264, right? Previous all-time high at 264. If you come back down to this 256, come back down to the daily 20 and start to see a hold, what would you really want to see happen? What you'd want to see happen is a breakout back above this high, a reclaim, and then you take this long right here, right? Back to those highs. That would be really the trade I'd look for, right? Let this hold, let it confirm a reclaim back above 264, and then look long, right? Because the concern here is if you long this 256, you could get a short-term pop, but then you could get a lower high failure, right? And that would be no bueno, right? That would be no bueno. So how do you avoid getting stuck in a little lower high failure? You let this hold. Don't take the trade yet. Let it reclaim back above 264 and then take it long, right? That would be a great thing to look for. MU back down to the daily 20, 118, 117 most likely. ARM, oh man, don't do it, man. I was hoping it was ARM day, but it looks like ARM day might be already ARM day. It looks like the boys already hit the gym. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe we still find an entry here, but this looks incredible on ARM, right? Take a look at this thing. This looks really, really nice. I would target this high here at 150, 149. But if this continues to fail in the pre-market, it's going to run away. It's going to run away. So a little bit of support here at the 152. If you break that, I think you can very easily get it to 149, 150. But I really wanted to take an entry here at 157s. So this might start running. This might just start running away, unfortunately. But you can see right here, previous lows into rejection points, beautiful break and hold below, right? This is fading lower. I would expect at least 152 minimum with the target ultimately of like 149. But that looks like it might be a goner, unfortunately. Yep, that's a goner. Okay. Google. Come on, keyboard. Google. 200 SMA, 173, 175. I would be watching that area. Keep an eye on that. Amazon failing 222. If Amazon really needs to hold this 217 area. I really do. I really think it does. Right here, you can see Amazon 218, 217. This has to hold here. Right here. If we break back under that 217, I think you're going to get downside. And that's why I have that alert there at 217. Meta, oh my God. Meta was beautiful yesterday. Unbelievable. Really, really clean under PDL. This was something I was talking about yesterday on the live stream, on our live trading. We had that PDL, and after we failed under that PDL, it was a goner. This was incredible Meta yesterday. This is a great pullback, though, right? Meta, 2 straight up. This is awesome. This is exactly what you want. Meta right back down to 703, 706. That's what we've been waiting for. Guys, we've been saying this on the live stream every day. What's the best pullback on Meta? It's back to these highs. It's back to the daily 20. This is, again, another situation, right? And another experience for some of you out there to see that this happens every time. It always happens. If you're going to go straight up, you are going to come back straight down. And it's the people that get caught chasing straight up that lose money consistently. You can't do it. You can't do it. You got to change something. Something has to change. All right, we've been talking about how you have these structure highs here, and we need to come back down to retest that if we're going to get a good long. Right? Back at the daily 20, back at this retest level. So this is great, right? This is great. But the people that are long Meta right now, they're just not paying attention, man. That's really the difference. You're just not paying attention. It's very, very easy to see. Why long something that is vertically higher? Why try to just keep, thinking that this is going to continue? It's called FOMO. It's called, Meta's just going to keep going. I need to get in it. why not just stay patient and wait for us to pull back to the retest level, which provides actual risk reward? And, even if you take this long and you do end up losing, at least it's a small amount, rather than longing the highs and getting just totally smacked on. So really clean there on Meta. Exactly what we've been discussing. Beautiful rejections now under the 715 previous day lows. What I would look for is a little pop and fade at the previous day low here today for a trade back into the 706, 703. And then I would relieve your short positions at the 703 and the daily 20. Very clear. Very nice stuff. Palantir was a beautiful fade yesterday under 135. That was incredible. This was another watch we had. 135 Palantir. You're getting into a little bit of some choppy seas here, so I'm not a big fan of any more really on Palantir. I don't really like this zone to trade into it. But, maybe if you break under this low a day from yesterday, you go into the 50 SMA. Under that, you go to channel lows at 120, possibly. But I'm not a big fan of Palantir there today. MicroStrategy, yeah, we were talking about the long possibility, but what were we worried about? We were worried about this 404, 400 high, and that's exactly what smacked there on MicroStrategy. I am no longer interested in this trade. It did not hold above that 400 spot, and it's right back in the channel, so not really any interest there. Coinbase. Coinbase is probably my top watch today. Yesterday, you saw it sort of try to pop higher. It failed. Coinbase. Look at this, man. You have a very, very, very interesting low volume area below on Coinbase. I pray to God that this holds up for us. You should be trading back to 315. There is no reason why this does not get given back. I would absolutely be looking for this move down to 315 on Coinbase. You can clearly see we have these previous lows on Coinbase now turning into rejections. If we can get a little bit of downside follow through today, I really like your target back to 315. You have a beautiful break and retest below these lows. Break, retest, rejection. If you can get that rejection to stay true. What I would look for here on Coinbase is a break of yesterday's lows. That's what you're going to need to take this short. You need to get a break under 334 yesterday's lows. Right? That would be at a minimum the level that you'd want to see break. If you can get a break under 334, if you can get a nice break and retest below yesterday's lows, then I think it's game time. All right, that's what I would be looking for. I would not short into yesterday's lows. That does not make sense, right? But I would look for a fail under this previous day low for the downside move into 315. And then I will back this up with the volume profile, and I will show you where that low volume is, right? If we go to the 30-minute, you guys can see under this previous day low, around 334, you have a low volume area down into the 315. Top watch today, something I would be watching. Okay. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Some really nice setups, some really nice trades out there, some beautiful reads yesterday. Pretty spot on there. If you want to trade live with me every day, you can check out the link down below. It says trade live with me. If you want to get my levels every day, you can go to the key levels. It says get my levels. Also, something that I'm working on that people are loving, that are in the Discord, and that I will, eventually roll out to some kind of paid feature is our technical levels on TradingView and Thinkorswim. Just a direct link to both of those. You can, you simply click on this. You click on this link. Let me see if I can click it through this. Can I open? Yeah, click on this link. Bam. All my key levels on TOS and TradingView. Something I'm working on. We're already providing that within the community. So this is really cool, but it will be provided to more people in the future. So really cool there. Some stuff we're working on. If you want to join us, join the Options Insider Trading community, go ahead and check it out down below. Today, yes, ADR is live trading. So if you do join today, you're not going to hear me trade live. Wednesdays are ADR. Wednesdays are the days I trade with the mentorship group, the insiders. So that's today. But that's it. Tomorrow we'll be back. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is all me. That is very clearly, very clearly said when you sign up. So please make sure you read before you sign up. If that makes you upset, I apologize. Markets closed Friday. 2 more days until 4th of July. And that's it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.